Hey everyone, so today we're going to talk about how to do the Mediterranean diet. I'm sure you've heard about this on the news or in media, but basically this is a diet obviously that comes out of Europe, and the reason it became so famous is because they found that there were certain areas of the world, particular certain areas in the Mediterranean where people lived into the hundreds, and they linked it to their diet. So, and then they started researching to figure out what it was about their diet that promoted longevity and health. Of course, there are other factors in the Mediterranean lifestyle besides the diet, like exercise, etc., that influence the health of people. But we're going to go over what some of the aspects of this diet are, and how you can follow it simply if that's something that you wanted to explore. Before we begin, go ahead and click the subscribe button and the notification bell if you want to get more videos like this about nutrition, as well as health and wellness and relationship coaching. So let's begin. Okay. The first major thing you need to know about the Mediterranean diet is that its main purpose is a focus on fresh foods and not processed foods. You have to remember that the European Mediterranean culture and diet is an older, longer standing culture than perhaps the newer American cuisine. And so there was always this reliance on fresh foods as opposed to processed packaged foods that we became more accustomed with here. So shopping the outer aisles of your supermarkets, your vegetables, your fruit, your meats, your fresh poultries and fishes are already going to be the first thing. The next thing is that in the Mediterranean diet, they really put a focus more on a lot of plant foods and a lot of lean proteins and much less red meat and more fish. So you're going to reduce your red meat, and you are not going to be eating as much classic dairy as well. The dairy is going to be more like goat cheeses, yogurts, and feta cheeses and things of that nature, and not as many of the milk-based dishes. Okay, so in the Mediterranean diet, what you want to do is focus your meals on lots of vegetables, on whole grains as opposed to white grains, so like darker breads, blacker breads, whole wheat pastas, things of that nature. Beans, a lot of beans, bean salads. Have you ever heard of a Tuscan bean salad? A minestrone soup, so more beans. Fresh nuts, so salads with nuts on top, hazelnuts, nuts in the morning. Lots of fresh fish in the Mediterranean diet. They really want you to, the concept is to eat fresh fish a couple times a week. Remember that the Mediterranean diet is based on countries that are encircled by the Mediterranean. There was a lot of fishermen, so they were going out bringing in fresh fish and seafood, so making it a point to eat fish or seafood twice a week. And olive oil is another big component. When you're having olive oil, the quality is really important, so you want to get extra virgin olive oil, preferably cold pressed, so that it's less processed and it's the purest quality olive oil. And finally, a big component of the Mediterranean diet is red wine, or just pure wine in general. So when you're drinking the wine, you want it to be 1 glass for a woman per day and 2 for a man. You don't want to exceed those amounts because obviously there's calories and alcohol. So it's a predominantly plant-based food diet, and when you're having your proteins, you want to go for the lower fat proteins, so yogurt, poultry, eggs, fish and seafood, as we mentioned earlier. The next thing is good fats. So we started to mention the olive oil, but the other kinds of good fats are usually unsaturated fats, so things like avocados, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, nuts are all the kinds of fats that they're going to go for more in a Mediterranean diet. Now remember, Mediterranean diet can be a little bit hard to define because there isn't really one definition. I mean, if you think about the Mediterranean in general, there's a variety of countries in the Mediterranean. So are we talking about a Greek diet? Are we talking about an Italian diet? Are we talking about a French diet? You know, that's why there isn't one version, but the tips that I'm giving you are kind of the things that they've pulled out in general from the Mediterranean cultures that they've realized in research or from observation is what is contributing to the increased health. So drinks. In the Mediterranean diet, there is, people are not drinking soda. They're drinking, you know, mineral waters. I'm sure if you've ever taken a vacation to Europe or you're in Europe right now, you know how important, you know, the bottles of mineral water are on the tables if you go to a restaurant, whether it's, you know, an Evian or an Italian mineral water, whatever the local country is that you're in, they usually have their, you know, local mineral water or local sparkling water, which is the main thing they drink. The other thing is maybe a tea or coffee, depending where you're located, you know, in the afternoon or in the morning. So tea and coffee is okay as well. Just be careful, you know, what you're putting in it, not putting a lot of sweetener or dairy. The next thing that we mentioned earlier is, of course, the wine, usually with dinner, or if it's a country like Spain where they're having a large lunch and a siesta, you might have your wine then. The next thing is desserts. In the Mediterranean diet, much less of a focus on dessert, and instead having just fruit for dessert instead of, you know, large copious desserts. If you have been to the Mediterranean or live in the Mediterranean, you'll know that sometimes they might have cakes, but they're going to be drier cakes, whole grain cakes, much less sweet cakes. So, you know, sometimes in the breakfast times you'll see cakes, but they're definitely, you know, much less sweet. So the other thing is how to cook the foods. Foods will be grilled and broiled, sautés. You're going to be seeing less frying, and usually they're going to be doing it in extra virgin olive oil. Just remember that when you are sautéing in extra virgin olive oil, not to cook in the high heats, because olive oil does oxidize at high temperatures, and not only do you destroy the natural products of the oil, but you actually can create something that's dangerous to ingest. So on your salads, you know, eating the olive oil fresh is what's really healthy. Another thing is seasoning with fresh herbs and spices. So things like fresh basil, parsley, rosemary for flavorings, whether it's your salads or your roasts, to add flavor without all the calories. So basically, the reasons you would want to do the Mediterranean diet is because the Mediterranean diet has been shown in studies to increase heart health, to help with longevity. So, you know, I just wanted to give you an idea of what a sample day might look like eating the Mediterranean diet. So you could get up in the morning and perhaps have some oatmeal, try and go for whole grain or even steel cut oats, so you get real whole grain oats with some fruit on top or some nuts. Lunch could be a salad niçoise with, you know, a piece of tuna, or a salmon version with nice greens, some tomatoes, maybe an egg and some potato. And then for dinner, maybe you would have a whole grain pasta with a tomato vegetable sauce. So that's an example of what a day eating the Mediterranean diet looks like. But I do want to encourage you, before you know, get your heart set on any diet, or, you know, before you do more research, is any diet you try, there's going to be an adjustment period, and you should also look at how it affects you individually. How does it work in your lifestyle socially? How do you feel eating that way? Do you enjoy it? And are you getting the results, whether it's weight loss or weight gain? If you've got health issues, is it helping? Is it helping your heart health? Is it helping your blood sugar levels? Whatever it is that you're suffering from, is it cholesterol? See how the diet works for you before you make a final decision, because as we know, there are so many diets out there, and the most important is for you to figure out, like a detective, what is the best diet for you that makes you happy and feel totally fulfilled, and also that you're really enjoying your meals, that you enjoy eating this way. So next, I want to ask you, have you tried the Mediterranean diet before? Have you tried a different diet that's working for you? Please do share in the comments below any diet tips. And if you are on the Mediterranean diet, what other tips and tricks can you share with us so that anyone here that wants to try the Mediterranean diet can have a little bit more knowledge about how to do it right? Wishing you many blessings.